Afternoon, beautiful creatures. Just a few intuitive messages through from Spirit for you. Spirit Keeper of the North. For those of you in the North, make sure you're reaching out, spending time in nature. If you need guidance, use your spirit team. Sacred Mountain, make sure you're spending time in sacred spaces and or creating your sacred spaces. Some of you will have mountains to climb, or it will seem so. Song of the Wild, make sure you are adjusting your frequency as you need to. There's a beautiful rainbow on that card. There's always a rainbow if you look hard enough. Peace Pipe, make sure you are doing whatever you are doing with the right intent. And for those of you that are finding things challenging, make sure you're reaching out to your elders and your guardians as you need it when you need help, and or let your creative forces out. Thunder Drum, make sure you are recharging and being heard. Don't be dimming your light and or being quiet on the account of others, because not everyone is going to like what you have to say. It doesn't necessarily mean you shouldn't be saying it. Okay, here we've got ancestors. Some of you are dealing with some really heavy and really full-on ancestral stuff, whether it be family patterns, family generational stuff. So make sure you're reaching out to your ancestors as you need to, and or calling in your ancestors during the work you're doing. Grandfather Sky, some of you, this will relate to a grandfather, and or you're finding yourself spending a lot of time up at night and or doing lunar work. Medicine Bag, make sure you are answering your calling and or getting help if you need help and or are feeling unwell. A lot of you are probably feeling what's called travel sickness and or ascension symptoms, which means you could be tired, you could be exhausted on a soul level. You could be feeling off, you could be getting dizzy spells, ringing of the ears, you could be feeling queasy, you could be having similar to what is it called, when you get a bit lightheaded when you stand up. They're all ascension symptoms, but, just in case, check with the doctor if you're not sure if it persists for more than sort of, a couple of episodes. You should all already know that anyway, but just in case. And or see your local healer if you need help. Tracker. Some of you are natural trackers, some of you are being tracked, and for those of you that are quite like me that have multiple gifts coming in, people are keeping an eye on you and keeping track of what you're doing, so, be sure to be mindful of that. Not that there's much to see, but, it is what it is. Spirit Keeper of the South, for those of you in the South, make sure you're, same deal, keeping grounded, keeping hydrated. Shapeshifter, Spirit of the South, some of you have a shapeshifter energy. Or some of you are becoming shapeshifters, maybe as part of your cultural thing. Some of you have this as part of cycle of life. You have a shapeshifter that is around you and or tracking you. So keep an eye on that. Make sure you are embracing the circle of life. You are doing your part, and you are, sometimes the cycle of life puts us through hard times. Doesn't mean that it's a shit life, it's just a shit day. Spirit Keepers of the East, dream traveling is on the cards. Beautiful places. I would say you've got some sacred spaces and some rites coming up. Don't be afraid to put the work in. Wounded healer. Some of you are wounded and going through trauma blocks, which is stopping you from your gifts. If this is the case, make sure you are cleansing, cleansing, and especially after you do any work for anybody, any kind of reading, any kind of energy work, make sure you're calling your power back and doing your healing, your own healing, and filling your own cup. It's also extremely important. Grounding again, Grandmother Earth. So make sure, for those of you that are wounded and or healing wounds for others, make sure you are grounding on a regular. Again, make sure you are calling in your ancestors and spirit guides, or whatever that is for you. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Even as healers, sometimes we need to be healed, so don't be afraid of that. It sometimes is harder for us to find a healer that works for us. It doesn't mean there isn't one, it just means it's more challenging. Warrior of the Heart. I have been finding myself lately, my heart chakra has been getting periodically, it feels like it's blocked. It's not really blocked as much as it's, like there's still work to do. Tribal spirit dancer. I haven't danced in a while. I probably should do that. You guys probably feel the same. Dancing, the flow of movement, the music, it all blends into this beautiful release of and or raising of vibration. So, make sure you're getting out there and doing what makes you feel good. Talking stick. Make sure you're talking to somebody if you're having issues and or you're still doing your healing. Make sure you've got someone you can rely to talk to. We've also got answering the calling. Those of you that are new to answering the calling, make sure you are cleansing on a regular and or staying really hydrated. Nothing worse than trying to work with energy and or emotion, and feeling like a dried out prune. So make sure you're cleansing and feeling hydrated. Trickster. Some of you might be dealing with some tricksters and or have a trickster that is claiming to be part of your guides and or spirit family or spirit guides, storyteller. Our ancestors often tell us stories, and this is how things used to be passed down back in the day. If you have an elder that is sitting around telling stories, you should sit around and listen, because you never know what you might learn. Spirit Keeper of the West. Make sure you're calling in your spirit guides as you need. Some of you have spirit guides from other places, which is okay and or normal. Spirit of the Air. This literally is a spirit card. So make sure you're listening to your cues from your spirit guides, and make sure you are hydrating and all that good stuff, okay? It's been a long few weeks, and there's bound to be a few of those in amongst everything that's happening and all those shifts that are happening. I've also got Sweat Lodge. Some of you are well overdue for a good cleanse, being that that's the 4th or 5th time I think it's come up now in this one read. So, make sure you're listening to your guides. Make sure you're cleansing, drinking water. Make sure you are, if you are wounded while healing and or you're a healer and you're breaking generational curses, make sure you are filling your own cup after doing the work, whether it be for yourself or for others. And, just love each other. Check in with people. Peace, love, and light.